Hey guys, it's me. I know it's been a long time again in between videos here. I don't always have a lot of time to film, unfortunately, now. But I am in the middle of a hurricane, so I have all the time in the world. So who knows what kind of stuff I'm gonna film these next few days. I'm not necessarily in an area that's going to be like devastated, but I am in an area where it was a big enough concern that we had to like put up our hurricane shutters. We had to like gas up our cars and stock up on food and stuff like that. So I am probably going to be house ridden for the next few days. That being said, I don't have like a specific tag or anything like that I'm doing right now. Currently, Mel from That Girl Bookworm put together a video where she did, if you like this TV show, then you'll like this book. So I'm copying and following in her footsteps. I do have 4 that I have set aside today. And then I also will be doing, if you like this really popular book, you might like this less popular book. So I have 4 of those as well. So you will be getting 8 TV show book recommendations for me today. I'm just gonna get right into it. So the first one that I have to recommend is if you like Veronica Mars, which is about a teen sleuth solving mysteries, and then like she's got like an overall grand mystery she has to solve, then personally I think you would like Nancy Drew. Nancy Drew is definitely not as dark and gritty as Veronica Mars. Nancy Drew is kind of more wholesome. So this is book 1 in the Nancy Drew series, Secret of the Old Clock. And in this book, I don't remember anything that happens. I haven't read this in years. But I love Nancy Drew. I loved it growing up. I still recommend it to kids today. So any kid that likes mysteries or just likes, you know, thrilling books, definitely recommend Nancy Drew. But absolutely, if you like Veronica Mars, I don't see why you wouldn't like Nancy Drew. My next recommendation is if you like Outlander, the TV series. For once, I am not talking about the books. If you like Outlander, the show, which actually season 3 starts tomorrow, so I better have power. But yeah, if you like Outlander the show, then personally I think you would like The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley. I'm sure by now, if you are a frequenter of my channel, you are familiar with Outlander. Outlander is about a nurse who travels from the 40s back into the mid 1700s of in Scotland. So it is a time travel historical romance. It kind of falls in every genre. It's not necessarily just a romance because there's a lot more to it than the love story. So yes, if you like Outlander the TV show, which a lot of people I think are pretty familiar with at this point, it's a super popular show. I didn't realize how many people actually watched Outlander. Then I personally think you would like The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley. This is, and again, I have talked about Susanna Kearsley constantly on my channel. I love Susanna Kearsley. I've never read a book by her that I didn't like. But out of her books, she has another one called The Rose Garden, which is also, I think, pretty similar to the themes in Outlander. But I think out of the 2, The Winter Sea is the better recommendation because it's a bit more of an epic story. Like, it's a bit more along the same lines as Outlander, where this deals with like ancestral memory, so it's not actual time travel, but it does deal with kind of being put back in time and seeing how things were in that time. And there's also, of course, a love story that unfolds in this as well, both present and past. So it's really good. I loved this story. The cover is beautiful. Everything Susanna Kearsley writes is very lyrical, and I just, if you like Outlander, you'll probably like The Winter Sea. My next recommendation, and I own a lot of Sailor Moon, but it's if you like Sailor Moon, this is actually one of the movies, Sailor Moon R, Promise of the Rose. If you like Sailor Moon, personally, I think you would like The Eternal Ones by Kirsten Miller. So The Eternal Ones deals with similar elements in Sailor Moon, like that Sailor Moon does. Sailor Moon deals with reincarnation and like a love that was so strong it couldn't die. And there's a lot more to Sailor Moon that doesn't necessarily coincide with themes in The Eternal Ones. Like there's a lot of, you know, cosmic stuff going on, and that's not necessarily found here in The Eternal Ones. But as far as looking for a love so strong that it just refuses to die and is constantly reborn, and they have to always find each other, and their memories are always kind of foggy, and anyway, the Eternal Ones. It's literally in the title, the Eternal Ones. Their love is so strong that it just doesn't die, and every time this couple passes away, and it's usually due to something like tragic, like just anytime one of them passes away, they're reborn, and then they just have like these flashes and these memories, and they just know they have to find each other. This is technically, it's a duology. It's supposed to be a trilogy, but as far as I know, Kirsten Miller has no intentions of finishing this series. The second book is called All You Desire, and in All You Desire, there are still questions that you have at the end of the book, but nothing like pressing. Like, I wouldn't really call it a cliffhanger. So I still recommend this duology to people, because even though you don't have your questions answered, you're not necessarily like left hanging on the edge of your seat. Yeah, definitely the Eternal Ones. It deals with a lot of like the reincarnation elements that Sailor Moon does, and it deals with like a love that strong like you can find in Sailor Moon as well. My last recommendation, and this kind of is more if you like this book series, you'll like this TV show, but either way they go hand in hand. If you like the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and this is book 1, Obsidian, then I think you would like Roswell, which was a 90s TV show. I freaking love Roswell, and it's very similar to Lux, very similar. Just in case you haven't read Obsidian or any of the Lux books, this is a story of a girl who just moved into a new town, and her neighbors next door are aliens. They're from another planet. They have like their own like ongoing, I think it's like a civil war that they had going on their planet, and it's kind of the gist of Obsidian. Her next door neighbors are aliens, and as you can tell from the cover, she kind of has a thing for one of them. Now in Roswell, these are about the aliens in Roswell, New Mexico. I love Roswell. Roswell is my second favorite TV show of all time. My first one is Fringe, just in case you didn't know that. Fringe is my #1 show forever. In Roswell, it deals, they're so similar. They're so similar. They're all in high school. In Roswell, there are 3 aliens in high school, and here, I think there's like 6. But there's 3 main ones, and they're so similar. If you like Lux, you'll like Roswell. I watched Roswell before I read Lux, so I kind of like reading Lux. I was just like, it's like reading Roswell. Very similar. High school aliens, high school alien love story with a human. There was a war on their planet. The kids in this, the aliens in this, were the ones that crashed in the famous, UFO crash in Roswell back in, I think it was in the 60s. So these aliens are the same aliens. They were just like gestating in like a pod for a really long time, so they didn't bust out until like the late 80s. But yeah, they're the same. If you like this, you will like this. If by some miracle you've already seen Roswell, you will like the Lux series. And they're not like so similar that, you feel like you're just watching or reading one version of the other. Like, they do have a lot of differences, but it's just the overall like themes and stuff very similar. I love them both. I love Roswell a little more just because this was in my life first. But yeah, they're definitely really good. They go hand in hand. Just watch one, read this one, read this, watch this. They're very good, very similar, very awesome. That was part 1 of my recommendations. Part 2 I will be filming shortly, and I will probably put up within the next couple of days. But yeah, this is part 1 of if you like this, you'll like this. So I don't know, tune in for my next video that I'm filming right now. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let's be friends. I love having friends, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!